Ray, this is TinyTableGames, and welcome back. Today we're going to play the second mission from the Abaddon campaign book that comes built in with the rules. For how to play and all the details of the miniatures, please see my first video. And with that, let's get to it. The mission flavor text is, Sky Eye reports that the Commonwealth forces are moving forward through the burnout city ruins in your map grid sectors. Move your command forward at once to engage the enemy and stop their advance. That's it. So pretty much just shoot at the other guys. You don't even have to destroy anything. You just have to pull a total of 8 power crystals, aka do 8 points of cumulative damage to the opponent to win. The satellite city-states go first. Here are the hand of weapon system cards that got dealt off the start. Pretty good, including the Doomsday Bolt, which can be countered with an anti-missile missile, but other than that, it just literally destroys whatever unit it hits. So let's roll the city-states command dice and see how it goes. Heavy, weapon system, recon, command, and medium. Well, that's a pretty nice start, considering what your loadout is for this one, with 2 recons, a heavy, a medium, and an infantry. Alright, so I allocated my command dice. One weapon system target 8 card was drawn, and I'm going to move this recon link twice, the medium link, and the heavy link. So, the plan here, since it's just strike hard, strike fast, basically, the first thing is I'm going to move the recon link. The recons move 3, in this case 6, because it's 2 dice worth, but remember, you only ever get to attack once. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that said, we'll make use of this handy target 8. Straight at that guy. And again, technically, you make all your moves, then you allocate it, but for sanity purposes, there's not really reason not to do that as long as the defender gets a chance to respond as they do. Medium link moves 2, so I will just move him up. And he's got no shot, no line of sight. What the heck? I'll assign him, well, I would assign him a Doomsday Bolt. Yeah, sure, the Doomsday Bolt it is. I hate piling the cards like that. Alright, and last but not least, the heavy link, he goes only 1 space, so he will simply step up in an effort to try and advance. He's not going to have any shot. So we move on to the defender's response. The Commonwealth Alliance hand looks like this. The Doomsday Bolt would be seriously bad news, as that could wipe out the 4 or 5 point link in a single shot. So we will immediately use the anti-missile missile to counter that. And for this activity over here, whoever gets the most first wins, so we will definitely target back with the biggest card we've got in an effort to chip away at them. Okay, so the anti-missile card counters the Doomsday Bolt, and they're both discarded. Over here, it's the target 5 versus the target 8. A recon versus a recon, so they're both rolling d6 dice. So the attackers roll 1 plus 8 for a total of 9. Against the defenders, 5 and 5 is 10. So the defender wins. The satellite city-states lose 1 point, and it goes into the victory pot, if you will. Now there's no hand-to-hand combat. All the command dice have been spent, so it's now the Commonwealth Alliance's first turn. Okay, for the Commonwealth Alliance's command roll, we've got 2 heavies, 2 recons, and a command. Again, that's not too bad, actually. We'll obviously assign those 2 heavies to the heavies. 1 to each recon link, probably. And give the command probably to this infantry, so they can help back up that recon link. Alright. Now looking at the available cards, remember you have to have a weapon system card to do a ranged attack. In this case, the first thing we will use is a long-range bombardment, and the heavy link gets a +1 to it. So first, we'll do the moving He only moves one each. So 1, 2. That's it for him. And then he will be long range bombarding and target the opposing heavy. Again, I'm not really sure how you're supposed to designate that out of sight of simply saying so. For this recon link, they always move 3, if you choose to. 1, 2, 3 up here, just nice and crowded. He still has no shot, but he'll be ready come next turn, most likely. The infantry unit only ever moves 1, unless you have multiple dice. So he is going to step up and over and kind of get in the way a little bit and use this target 3, do 2 additional damage if you're infantry, and target the recon mech. And this recon, or excuse me, link, and this recon link is not going to use all 3 movement, although if I do, then I don't need that card. Alright, so he will use all 3 movement and step into close combat with this guy. Now I should note I have once again failed to use my target bonus token at the start of the turn, so starting with turn 2 I will remember to do that since the city-states didn't do it either this turn. So with movement done and attacks declared, it is now the defender's chance to respond before any dice are rolled, and in this case the city-states are going to use one of their well-stocked supply of anti-missile missiles to cancel the long-range bombardment, so that just goes away. And for this attack over here, it's a target 3. He will definitely respond because the more the better, the faster. With a target 2, score 1 additional damage. So we resolve that before moving on to the close combat. The recon link uses the blue 6. The infantry uses the green 6. So it's a tie, except that the infantry played 1 higher, so they remove 3 total, which is enough to destroy it, so it's a bit of overkill. Thus we only get 2 crystals for that. Alright, and the close combat doesn't happen because there's nobody to fight with. That ends the Commonwealth Alliance's first turn. At the start of round 2, the satellite city-states are down 3 crystals to nothing, and it is their turn. First, remembering to put down the marker token. In this case, we're going to put it right on the heavy square, which will give anybody shooting into that square a +1 this round. Now let's roll the dice and see what kind of command luck we get. Okay, heavy, recon, command, and weapon system. Again, not terrible since command is so versatile. Alright, the weapon system card drawn was another target, in this case a target 4, and the only heavy that the city-states have is getting both heavy link dice. The only recon link left is also, and the command is going to the medium. So that done, time for movement. Alright, again, you're just trying to knock off crystals, need to make some progress here. And the 3 normal shots, nothing special, which kind of works out. I'm not sure the heavy can still get to anywhere as they only move 1. But the medium moves 2, so we'll move him up 1, 2, which does give him a, despite this little tree here, line of sight to this guy, which will be helpful. So we will use the target 4 on him. And for the heavy, he will move forward 2 once again, continuing the slow march across the board to where he can actually be effective. And the recon link over here will move 3. 1, 2, 3. In an effort to target this guy. And for that recon targeting the recon, we'll use the +6, continuing to try to do the best attacking we can. And that brings us with, let's see, those 2 shots. Nobody else can go. Okay, so it's time for the Commonwealth Alliance to decide if they're going to do any defense. They have a smart bomb. Sorry about that. And a target 2. Probably best to save those for actually attacking, so they are simply going to roll their dice and defend. So if they manage to roll higher, there's no damage, but they don't do any counter-attacking. Okay, so first shot will be the medium at the heavy. And notice the heavy is sitting on the targeted square. So the medium uses a D8, the heavy uses a D10. So the heavy got 3, plus 4, plus 1, 7, 8. The heavy just got 1. There's a fun rule that didn't come into play in the practice scenario overall, which is that if you're more than double the defense, you get to take 2 crystals. Never more than 2, but at least 2. So that's 2 crystals off the heavy, putting the satellite city-states on the board. On to the other attack, the medium versus, the recon versus the recon. Attack passes through this point, but because this square is clear, it still counts for line of sight. So it's a 6 versus a 6. We'll use the green for the defender. So 4 plus 6 is 10 versus 6 for the defender. So that is more than enough, but not double, so it doesn't take 2. So the recon unit loses 1 crystal. And at the end of the top half of turn 2, the score is tied 3-3. Okay, bottom half of round 2, it's the Commonwealth City-State. Step 1, place their target icon, which is going to go on this conveniently visible guy right there. And now roll on the command dice and see how that goes. So we got heavy, heavy, medium infantry, and weapon system. Draw that card. An anti-missile. Well, that's great, but not super helpful for actually trying to attack this round. So you don't need a card to get into once you're into close combat, so that might be the way to go. The heavy can get there this round, so we are going to assign him both of his. We'll give the medium, who's just been sitting back here so far, theirs, and the infantry finally gets to do something. Starting off, we'll move the heavy right over here to close in, which puts him into close combat. Notice the satellite city-state's target is only for geography, not a person. The medium link moves 2 and is going to step up and will be within range of 5, 3, 4, 5 of that guy. So we use one of the, use one of the target 2 towards that one. And again, laying him out like this just drives me nuts, but whatever. Infantry isn't really going to have much to do from that position, so we will just shift him over 1 and try to recover from where he was before. Alright, so there's 1 close combat, 1 ranged combat. It's the city-state's opportunity to respond. They're down to just 2 cards. One was anti-missile, but considering it's just more crystals wins, going to respond with their last target card. And now we go to combat resolution. Okay, for this ranged combat, it is a medium versus a recon, a target 2 and a target 5. The medium uses a D8, the recon uses a D6. So the medium got 6 plus 2 is 8. The recon got 5 plus 1 is 6, so the recon loses. So the Commonwealth picks off another crystal, bringing the total up to 4-3. In the close combat, it is the heavy of the Commonwealth versus the medium of the satellite city-states. Notice that the satellite city-states is sitting in a targeted square, which actually counts in close combat, giving the heavy a +1. So the heavy got a total of 2, the medium got a total of 7. That's more than double, so the medium will actually pull 2 crystals off of the heavy, leaving him with 1 point, and putting the satellite city-states ahead 5-4. Top of the third, it's back to the satellite city-states. All of the targeting tokens are removed. Unfortunately, nobody draws cards until they actually roll that. So the satellite city-states are down to just one anti-missile card. I mean, it's close combat or nothing, pretty much. Ranged combat's over for them, so hopefully this roll goes that way. Alright, so we got one weapon system. I'll draw that immediately. Long-range bombardment, that's not bad. Two commands, an infantry and the recon link. Okay, well, the infantry, it's honestly kind of a waste at this point. The recon link, only one left, obviously. We're going to give one to the heavy so he can activate the long-range bombardment card. And we will give one to the medium so they can continue the close combat and maybe get lucky. Okay, for the movement, the infantry just moves up one. Hooray. The heavy is going to step over so he can actually target something. Although technically he doesn't have to do that, considering he's going to use long-range bombardment. I'm just going to prop it behind him because it makes it easier. Target an enemy unit over 5 spaces away, which in this case is going to be this guy. So you know what? I'm just going to set the long-range bombardment card by him as an indicator that that's what's going on. Then we got the recon link, who's going to have to close into close combat because the city-states are all out of ranged cards. So move him up 3, 1, 2, and he can now engage the other recon link. And no movement here because I want to stay in close combat. Again, no ranged cards left. Okay, as soon as the long-range bombardment starts to resolve, the Commonwealth Alliance is pleased to announce they have still another anti-missile card, canceling the attack altogether. That just leaves the close combat that is left. Over here we've got recon link versus recon link. So that's a D6 versus a D6. We'll give the satellite city-state attacker the blue die. It's 5-5, so that's a tie. There's no bonuses because I forgot to place that targeting thing again. And so in a case of a tie, there's no winners, no losers. Over here, the heavy versus the medium. D10 versus a D8. The targeting sectors have cleared, so it's a straight roll. Again, a tie. A very inefficient use of combat this turn. Well, that was an uninspiring round of combat, and now we go to the bottom of the round for the Commonwealth Alliance and the end of round 3. The Commonwealth Alliance is having the same problem as the city-states, which is only have one card left, but at least it's an attack card. So let's hope the die rolls are good. We got 3 medium links, 1 command, and 1 recon link. Fortunately, there's still a medium link on the board. Alright, you can only shoot once, no matter how many times you can move. In this case, the medium link, since it got the smart bomb left, which is target an enemy 2-5 with no line of sight restrictions. So we are going to move this medium around the corner so they fall within the 2-5 range with no line of sight required. And even though the other ones haven't moved yet, I'm going to set this here now because that's the only ranged card that the Commonwealth has. That just leaves a recon and a command die. The recon is already in close combat and will stay there. And for the command die, it looks like we're going to have to give it to the heavy link to also close in to close combat. So he's going to move 1 up the angle right here, which is quite exposed, but nobody really has any ranged combat cards left. So that'll take us straight into combat resolution. The city-states have one card left, and it is an anti-missile, so they will cancel the smart bomb. Don't know how many anti-missile cards are in this deck, but it does seem to pop up a lot. And we're straight on to close combat. Okay, in the close combat, we got the heavy versus the recon link, so D10 versus D6, straight up rolling. And it's a 6 versus a 3. So, the heavy loses. These guys are not good at close combat, apparently. And it is equal to 2, but not more than 2, so he only loses 1. Rule correction there. Double or more is 2, so he actually loses 2. Bringing the Commonwealth Alliance's total up to 6. So they've pulled ahead by 1 and are 2 away from victory. That just leaves the Recon Link versus the Recon Link close combat. The attacker will be given the blue die, 6 to 5. So the Commonwealth loses. And brings the total 6 to 6. Okay, bottom of the round, back to the Commonwealth Alliances. No one has any weapon system cards yet left for ranged combat. And the roll is heavy, command, recon, recon, recon. So, probably going to use that command token to actually draw a weapon system card. And it's actually target 3, that's pretty good. Medium link scores 2 additional damage. That's pretty useful considering the situation at the moment. Except for the part where I don't have the medium link roll to use it exactly this turn, but that's okay. So we'll give the heavy link his due, and we will remember to put down the target token this time on that infantry guy back there. The recon link gets to go 3 times. He's currently in close combat. Probably best to stay there. Well, maybe he should just back up. He's just going to back up. 1, 2, 3, 4, way over here, because he can move up to 3 per die roll, so that would have been 9 movement. Don't need that much. So the only shot taking place is the heavy onto this infantry, and he'll get a +1 bonus for the targeting square. The satellite city-states have no cards left to respond with, so it's a straight roll. D10 versus the D6. 7 versus 5. +3, 10, 11 versus 5, which is 2 crystals taken from the infantry, which wins the game for the Commonwealth Alliance. So that seemed kind of abrupt as an ending, but especially considering how unresolved this fight would be in any other game. But I suppose once you get to 6 crystals, everybody just calls it a day, they call lunch break and go home. Kind of unsatisfying ending. So that's how mission 2 played out. 2 down, 14 more to go. In this case, it was just knock out the crystals, which went much faster than I would have thought, despite some despairingly bad command rolls here and there. One roll I did leave out intentionally in this case was the kind of backwards critical hit roll. In this game, despite the person who gets the higher roll plus their target number from the weapon system card wins the combat, if you roll a natural 1, you automatically win the combat, and it's rather than taking a crystal point away from your opponent, you draw a wildfire card and hand it to him. Next mission, I'll be doing that, but I wanted to play it without it this time to see how fast the crystal burn down would actually go in the mission. One weird thing about that is in the case of things like infantry, if they actually get into close combat where they roll 2d6 and pick the one they want, I can't imagine you not wanting to pick the 1 every time, except that wildfire cards occasionally are not bad and can actually benefit someone. So we'll see. There's a lot of randomness there, although at this point, given how rarely I roll infantry and the fact that they only move 1, it seems almost a non-starter given how the game's positioned. So we'll see how it goes in future missions if the positioning helps at all. But there you go. I'm still not super thrilled with this game. I really hate the clunky card layout process, and some of the rules are just kind of head-scratchy as far as it feels like kind of too much put together at the same time, not enough kill your darlings effect in the rule setup and writing. But thank you for watching. This has been Tiny Table Games. I'm Ray. I'll see you next time.